There was a giant ice globe waiting for me in California. Everything changed pretty much overnight. I think I got laid off a few months later and I never went back. I wanted to start a business around this idea that seasons are the key to well-being. I wanted to be a sound designer, full and full. Me and my one friend would actually develop commercials. Video and music were huge parts of my life since I was 10 years old. I started by doing landscape photography every summer when we would go out west. I was operating live audio for events in ballrooms around Boston. I want to just videotape them. They're so passionate and they're so into their work. I want to hold the space to anchor them to their very essence, to the root of why they do what they do, why they started. I decided to start Essence Presents. Hello and welcome to Essence Presents YouTube channel. My name is Liz. I am the head photographer and content strategist here at Essence Presents. This video is going to be completely unscripted and me telling you my story, how I got into this, and ultimately why I help small businesses optimize their digital presence through media production, content marketing. This is kind of like the welcome mat, the front door to my YouTube channel, my world, what Essence Presents is, why Essence Presents, like why the words, why the chandelier and my logo, and all the things that really just tie everything together. I want to take you back to 2019 when I was working as an account coordinator for a really cool experiential marketing agency based in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I was traveling the nation, producing events for big brands, hotels.com, Bear Paint, Ben & Jerry's, and Stonyfield. I managed a tour solo for Stonyfield just to give you an idea of kind of what I was doing. We were really doing the pop-up stunt-like events for these big brands, and it was honestly the best opportunity I've ever gotten. It taught me so much about marketing. It taught me so much about people and clients and how to communicate properly. I can do things really fast. I've always had a strength in that. And this role really even challenged me. It was one of the most challenging, but one of the most rewarding, communal, and really awesome experiences working with a team on every single campaign and really just producing something that is always going to be a memory in your mind. 2020 comes around and I'm set to go out to Anaheim, California in March 2020. And what's so funny is I was in talks with a vendor, which was something I was always doing. I was doing logistics as an account coordinator. And I had an ice person who built a giant ice globe for the South by Southwest event for our client, for their campaign. There was a giant ice globe waiting for me in California to come manage, and everything changed pretty much overnight. We got the call that South by Southwest event was canceled. The ice globe melted and basically all was lost in that kind of time, that month. I think I got laid off a few months later and I never went back. And what actually happened was I started a business and I also got into digital marketing, and it completely shifted everything for me. My whole life, I've really loved the idea of seasons, and I have always found it so fascinating that in the wintertime, everything dies, but yet it somehow comes back to life. It sounds like I'm smoking something, but at the core of it, this has always been one of the coolest elements of life to me. How there's cycles and how there's like a definitive need and desire within every single step of the cycle. And we think about the four seasons and we say, okay, in the winter time, we need rest. And at the other opposite time of the year, we need outward expansion and conversation and community and activity. And it's interesting how these things just come into our lives and it's natural. We all naturally know what we need. And then everything is regenerative within itself. Meaning, how can we have winter, but also the liveliness of summertime? These are the things that, like, at my core, if I get to be an 80-year-old woman, these are the things that I will consistently keep thinking about because they're so fascinating to me. And so, long story short, I wanted to start a business around this idea that seasons are the key to well-being. And when you really tap into the seasons and what we naturally need as humans, not connected to this digital world of like, here's what you need now, here's this now, and all these ideas, I wanted something that was like really gonna captivate people into this cycle that I see so clearly and vividly. It's called Brilliant Pit, and I'm still running it to this day, although it is more like a hobby right now because I'm selling some prints on Etsy, but originally I was doing herbalism. And so eventually I see Brilliant Pit being the fusion of astrology, herbalism, and seasonal wellness. I've never heard of seasonal wellness. I'm sure people have said the term, maybe not even meaning what I think it means, but I see it as the fusion of living within these 4 very vivid but major kind of cycles and rhythms that we are naturally taken to throughout the course of the year. I grew up in the Northeast, and so I've had all the seasons. And what I've realized is that I find a benefit to tapping into what each season is actually meant to give people or give you. I find it beneficial that the wintertime is really cold and that we don't really want to go outside. I find it really beneficial to rest during that time. I want people to align with that no matter where they are in the world. They can still rejuvenate in the winter, even if they live in California. You can still eat the foods that are meant to be eaten naturally in the place that you are locally based on the time of year. I first had a really big infatuation with seasonal food. And I did go through a phase where I wanted Brilliant Pit to be a food truck and provide only seasonal food to people. I started to think about that and I was like, no, this is more. There's more to it. And so it has officially turned into the fusion of seasonal wellness, herbalism, and astrology. Because all of these ways of practicing lifestyle, astrology and herbalism, give you wellness, right? They give you the sense of well-being. And this was the inspiration, right? I'm going deep into it, but I've never really told my story. So 2020 comes around, I'm building Brilliant Pit. It first, in its tangible form, becomes a beauty product business. I made coffee eyebrow tint and rosemary hair oil. And those 2 things were really what I saw as the beginning of this like herbal based, locally grown herbs, by the way, mechanism for helping people live in alignment with the season and the time of year. Now, I know those 2 things don't really align with the time of year. Those were more of the evergreen kind of products that I wanted to sell. And what happened was when I started developing these products, I started to gain a lot of traction online through my best friend and her community. And I really loved the idea that this was becoming a community, and I was really reaching people in my immediate area by going to yoga classes or going to workshops or hanging out with my best friend and her kind of community at the time. It really did bring me into that space after and within the time of 2020. And it was a safe haven, so to speak. And this is what initially built the platform of Brilliant Pit. Now, in the background, I come from a very significant childhood that strongly incorporated video, music. I actually applied to be an audio engineer for college. I wanted to get into an audio engineer program, and I didn't get in because of my math scores. They put me into an entertainment management major, and I wanted to be a sound designer, full and full. All throughout high school, I knew I wanted to do something with media. Since I was young, I've been making videos of my friends, we would develop skits. Me and my one friend would actually develop commercials, full-on commercials. We may have even written down scripts, and we would take the products that were in my cabinet and we would film commercials. And these products would spark ideas for us of what we could do and how we could show it. And it was a lot of creative direction when I was young. And I didn't even realize that until even after college. The fact that I've been doing video creative direction pretty much since I was 10 years old when I got my first video camera. So music, video, and all of the things like that, like photography was a part of my life, but not until high school. It was mainly video and music were huge parts of my life since I was 10 years old. They never stopped being a big part of my life. And so when I went to college to be an audio engineer, I knew deep down that was a little too specific. So I'm actually happy I got into the entertainment management major. It allowed me to understand that actually I wanted to go even broader. So I transferred schools and got a degree in mass communications, media production. So let's zip back to the timeline of 2020. I'm creating Brilliant Pit. I'm gaining community. And I come from a very active at this time background in photography and video. I got reinvigorated into the idea of capturing video when my father took me and my sister and our friends out west for 4 summers in a row. This is really where my reinvigoration for the medium of photography and videography got reborn into my life again. This was really the beginning of it all. And I started by doing landscape photography every summer when we would go out west. And so it's 2020 when I got out of this experiential marketing job and I was within my community, I was building this little business. I started to realize that I wanted to take photos and videos of this community doing what they loved, because this community happened to have a lot of entrepreneurial spirits within it. And it was this inspiration that I was like, I want to just videotape them. They're so passionate and they're so into their work. They're so purpose driven. And so I think I may have just brought my camera a couple of times to maybe a little gathering, get together type of thing. And I realized that this was what I wanted to do also. So the product-based stuff with Brilliant Pit was working, but I didn't know anything about business or product-based business. I didn't know how to really run that in full steam. But I was using my background in communications, utilizing that element that I learned about communications and marketing, using that as my kind of lead in the product-based stuff. It didn't fail, but it definitely did not reach the caliber that I was intending to, because I decided to start Essence Presents. So the term Essence Presents really does come from the ethos of serving people who are passion driven and purpose filled. So what I was just saying about being within my community and seeing these people do what they do, whether it was yoga, a juice business, consulting, somatic therapy, all of these things were in my immediate group of friends. And this was all so inspiring to me. It was all driven from their heart, truly. You can tell when somebody is faking what they do and what they love. These people were coming from their soul and their purpose. And that is what really drove me. And so Essence Presents comes from this idea that every living entity, anything that has energy around it, deserves to be conveyed and captured in this light that I experienced one night when I was working. Okay, stay with me. I was operating live audio for events in ballrooms around Boston. I was part of the in-house audio team at a hotel chain, and these were all around Boston in all the hotels. There was the same company that would run the audio for all the events. So I would do events at different hotels. I would do wherever there was work. There was this night in a ballroom where the lights that were shining down on people, I think it was maybe New Year's, this chandelier was so beautiful in this ballroom. And I'm obsessed with everything vintage, so that's probably a part of why I loved it so much. But it was shining down on people in a way that it was just a perfect soft lighting. It was perfectly diffused. And everyone was having this like joyful moment. Energy was running wild, and it felt like everybody's essence was coming to life. And so what Essence Presents really is presenting or conveying through photography and video the essence of a business, of a person, of somebody's passion, somebody's purpose. And the whole thing is all about really conveying this from the root, from the soul. I'm all about authenticity, and it's why I work with the businesses that I do, because they are so authentic and they are so purpose-driven. And I've had the pleasure of working with so many local small businesses that really run on this passion. And it is truly unlike anything else I've ever seen. In this digital world that we are now really amongst, I want to hold the space for people who are purpose and passion driven by whatever they do in their business, to anchor them to their very essence, to the root of why they do what they do, why they started. There's a lot of distractions out there these days, and I want to simply be a photographer and a videographer who captures that very essence and also helps them stay in their authenticity as they approach this digital world. So I really hope that you liked this off-script video. Please give me a like if you resonated with anything that was said in this video. If you have any questions about content marketing, photography, or video, this is what I do, and I'm so passionate about it. I'm really excited to keep growing, and I'm really appreciative of you watching my YouTube channel. This is the beginning. Thank you again for sticking around for this little story time video, and I will see you in the next one.